All right. Yet again, a lot of inspiration. I hope you guys navigated your way through the metaverse like me. I have a lot of ideas right now. It's bubbling in my head. But I have to stay focused because we have one more talk, and I'm really excited about that one too. We are going to make our way from Valencia to Porto to meet Tiago, who is the CEO of Workin, but more recently, a co-working space called DeHouse. Hello, Tiago.
Hi, Pauline. How are you? Are you good? Thank
Very
you so
good.
much for the invitation. Very
Well,
glad to be
I'm
here.
really happy to have you. And I have to say, we've been having quite a few talks up until you. So I'm
Yes.
really into the future. And I'm happy
Yes.
that I can wrap things up with you.
Let's see
Um,
if I can make the same thing to keep you on the future.
oh, I'm sure you can. I want to start by asking you if you could introduce yourself and also your area of work to our viewers.
Okay, of course. So I'm Tiago, as you said, from Portugal. We're currently based in Porto. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Workin and DeHouse, two different concepts, yet very similar in management and daily base operation. Both companies manage flexible and shared workspaces, or if you prefer, co-working spaces. We currently have more than 50 companies with us, working with us, more than that, I think, in our spaces, with approximately 350 users. Our location, as you know, is in Porto, and it's really, really special because we are right next to the beach, which allow us to do a lot of activities and events with an incredible vibe. I don't know if you can share some pictures that I send you from our
Yeah,
space because
I'm
it
going to
is
bring them
really
up.
it is really special. It's awesome. So fortunately, we have a long waiting list, and we intend to continue our rapid growth in working and also in the house. At the house, which I believe it will be our focus today, it is really a distinct concept because the expansion is throughout decentralized offices throughout the country. But we will for sure explain this later during this interview. And I can't finish this small introduction without saying that our approach is really focused on the user experience and on building a strong community. You will definitely hear me saying a lot this word community because we really we are we are really working on a strong community, and that's it for my introduction. I can
Wait,
hear you.
sorry, yeah, I was
Okay.
muted. Exactly. I just wanted to show a bit of the space. I was trying to bring it up. Um,
Yeah, like I told you, you have like on the left side the beach and the sea. Yeah, the view is awesome. Yeah,
yeah, it looks
it
really,
is a
really nice.
yeah, it is a great space.
How many floors
And
do you have?
4 floors right now. We
Oh,
are in
wow,
four
and you
floors.
even
Yes,
ground floor, I see.
yes. Yes,
Um,
the space is really awesome, and the location is a premium location.
and as we are into the topic of D house, let's dive right into it. Um, could you explain how the project came together in the first place?
Yes, of course. The Web3 ecosystem is growing a lot in Portugal, not just with new Portuguese companies, but also with foreigner companies and people that come and settle in Portugal. And what we found out is that the digital community that was built on the top of this recent ecosystem is huge and very, very active. But we miss physical spaces. The community lacked physical spaces to help them not just to grow, but mostly to create a platform where they can create synergies and empower the ecosystem. I believe this is very important. Like I said, to build a strong community to create this type of synergies. And what we are showing right now, it is a small slide that demonstrates what we intend to create. Like you can see, we always say that we are a synergies accelerator. One of our main goals is to have a space where synergies are built and formed. This is very important feature. This is a very important feature, in any flexible and shared space. At least I think so. Of course, we are inside regarding the house. We are inside Web3 ecosystem. We always say that we are also a social office. We always say that we are not just an office, but a social office. Is not just a place to work, it's a place to share ideas or to promote them, to brainstorm, or to meet new people. To have all of this, we have to have, again, a strong community. A community is everything for us. Our partners, our clients are not looking for a specific office or a specific location. They are looking for a community, and that's what we are trying to offer them with all of our dynamics. Our proposal is exactly that. And finally, the education. We need to fill this gap between universities and companies, or between any other educational system and the entrepreneurship. It is very important to connect these two realities, and we are trying to do that. And of course, we are trying to do this in a co-developing way, a co-creating way, and a co-sharing way. This is our main goal with DeHouse.
And another thing I really wanted to ask you, because you said, you started to explain that DeHouse is very much focused on Web3.
Yes.
Why was it important for you guys to bring to life a co-working space focused on Web3?
Yes, we create a Web3 focused co-working space with the goal of providing a physical space for individuals and companies working on decentralized technology and blockchain projects to collaborate and network, and foster innovation and the sharing of ideas and resources, and can also help to drive the growth and mainstream adoption of Web3 technology. Additionally, it's not just this. Additionally, it can act as a community for like-minded individuals who are passionate about this technology and want to be part of the ecosystem. So it is not just an exclusive Web3, but also a space where you can do the transition from Web2 to Web3, or to get into the space, okay, or even to get into the space. I think it is important not to be exclusive Web3, but also to be Web3 friendly, to have people that want to get into the space or companies that want to do the transition from Web2 to Web3.
And I think it's really important what you're saying, to be open to, not just the people who already understand it, but also to people who want to transition. How do you see the local scene in Porto right now around those two worlds?
Yes, Porto is really, we have a growing community in the ecosystem of Web3, but we are a small country. Portugal is a small country. So when I talk about Porto, I'm also talking about Portugal in general. But since you ask, I will try to distinguish a little bit the Web3 scene here in Portugal. But firstly, in the last few years, maybe a decade, Portugal has been much looked for a place for large multinationals or big tech companies, which has helped us to grow a lot in this area of entrepreneurship. And we have a series of advantages that really facilitates this entry of big players, whether because of our climate, or the cost of living, or the developed infrastructures, but above all, I think it's because of our talent. And this makes companies and entrepreneurs to invest in the creation of various startups, and it facilitates the creation of a thriving environment of entrepreneurship and tech companies. I think it begins with these startups and the Web2 companies. With Web3, although in a different scale, it was somewhat similar. We have good and well-known Portuguese companies, but we also have several foreigner structures in Portugal that have taken advantage of our country and talent to create great operational teams. Now, to make the distinction within our country, and speaking of the two main cities, that is Porto and Lisbon, I think both have quite large communities of Web3 companies. In Lisbon, with a large presence of foreigners, in Porto too, but much less. And I must, however, point out that Braga, another city, a smaller one, also has a large community, and it was the city where the first major projects emerged. So Braga is a smaller city in the north of Portugal, but it was the city where some of the first projects emerged. So it is also good to refer to Braga.
Nice, definitely, and thanks for mentioning them also. Some of the things
That's
people often ask us when they hear about those terms, like Web3, DAO, it seems so
yes.
still a bit scary for people. So when we were preparing the event, one of the questions I really wanted to ask you, which might sound simple, but for a lot of people, I think it's important, is like, do I need something in particular to join your community, or how does it work for me to become a member?
So I think the house, you can find us everywhere. And like I told you before, we are not exclusive for Web3 company. We are trying to build a place where Web3 companies can work, but you also can, if you are a person or a company that wants to get into the space, you also can talk with us. And we try to be everywhere. We try to be you can contact us through our website, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, wherever you want. We try to be everywhere. But so I think it is not hard to find us, especially here in Porto, because we have our community is growing and we have a lot of events, and we are in our events is for also external people, not just from the internal our internal community. It's for everyone, and we are trying to deliver this message to everyone through our events and throughout our social media and websites. Yeah, I hope
And
I answer your question,
you
Paula.
did, you did.
Yeah,
And one thing I found really interesting is that on your website, so the DeHouse website, you talk about
yeah.
decentralized workspace. And I found this concept to be very interesting. So can you expand on what that means?
Of course, of course. So the house stands for decentralized houses, or in our case, decentralized offices. Of course, we don't want to have like a big office with 1,000 people working inside. Yes, we want to have a community with 1,000 active users, or much more than that, if we can reach that goal. But in a decentralized way, small spaces spread all over the country, or maybe I don't know, all over the world. Let's see. Every space needs to be flexible and informal. The work environment is very important for us, and we really want to have people outside their homes and working among people inside the house offices, of course. And to have that, we don't want or we don't need to get in your car, in a Uber, a subway, or a bus to take 1 hour drive and to get into our space. No, we prefer to have different locations with small offices, but organically spread. This way we can build a better community. We can help more people inside the ecosystem, and everyone can be everywhere. In 1 week, just an example, 1 week you can be in 3 or 4 different cities, but always inside the house offices. So this is a decentralized hub, a different vision with events and activities spread throughout different spaces, and of course online. We also have to have events online, and I think almost all of our events are online too. And it is also important to speak about our approach to having these decentralized offices. You want me to talk about it, because
Yes, please. That's
it is
really
yeah,
interesting.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so our will be an absolutely decentralized proposal using existing spaces, in the sense that not only of space but also in the planification or the fit out of the spaces. In other words, everything needs to be absolutely ready to become the house space. So how can we do this? We are searching and meeting and talking with partners with spaces already built and in operation, however empty, or almost empty, due to the massive adoption of remote work and after the years of COVID confinement. There are lots of spaces in these circumstances, so many. So spaces, empty office with all the conditions, and our goal is to use our skills and know-how in the management of operations and community building. So I will explain again. I'm talking about existing spaces from companies that are not using the space in their full capacity or potential. And we can help in several ways. We can monetize the space, making it profitable with our operation, fostering the internal environment, so the culture and the community of each company's space with all our dynamics, we see that people are starting to feel more willing to return to the office, and finally fostering the Web3 community and ecosystem. So we can do all of that in places that already exist, and we with our work and our know-how can help to do all of this, all of these three things. So it is a different approach, but it is very nice, and it is working very well here in Portugal.
It's amazing. And I mean, DeHouse is relatively new, right? Compared to Workin and the spaces you run. So what have you found challenging so far by bringing to life DeHouse? What has been a bit difficult?
So, like you said, yeah, it's really recent. DeHouse is really recent, and we already have a lot of some experience with the work that we have done in Workin. But it's very different from the general companies more focused in Web2. Since we are working with Web3 companies, yes. In Web3, usually you have smaller and younger companies, not that worry about having an office for the teams to work. And that is because most of them were born remotely and they intend to continue like that. Another great difference between these two ecosystems is that Web companies value the events we organize immensely, much more than the other companies. And in that sense, we have to be more attentive to organize more events and with better quality, because when we do a Web3 event, all the people show, the events are always full with people, and it is awesome. It is also quite challenging that the ecosystem is so new, so vast, and everything is changing so fast. So it is very hard to keep up with everything, to communicate everything in the best way, and offer a careful service related to this incredible ecosystem. So it's very different in several ways, and also very challenging. But it is really good to learn all of this every day.
Yeah, and as you said, it's still so new that there's still so many things yet to happen. So it's already amazing to have this kind of ecosystem in Porto, because as you said earlier, you can already allow for connections from people who are maybe more advanced on the topic of Web3 and people who really just want to educate themselves. By opening DeHouse, you become the place, where all of that can happen.
Yes, that's really how these kind of connections with Web3 companies and also another companies that want to transition to make the transition to the Web3 world or to the Web3 movement. So it is our main goal is that one.
And do you have some examples maybe of some of your members who are, let's say, more Web3 focused?
Yes, of course. We have a lot of companies working with us right now. I can give it like Taikai, Bipro, Real Fever, Exable, Limpids, Utrust. Utrust is a very known company in Portugal from Web3 team. Also, people from Lido Finance, that is a Russian company. Offree Labs, Tina DAO. We are working with a lot of companies right now, and probably forgetting some of our partners. Sorry about that, but it is. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not remembering anymore.
That's okay, no worries. I was actually wondering if because you had your slides and somehow they are not appearing anymore. Wait, let me just. Were they there maybe or okay? Yeah, so that's the space for people joining us now that you were explaining.
Yes, I explained this because we can have the other slide, the one previous.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Is just to explain that we can have two big cities like Porto or Lisbon, or we can have small offices, but in a decentralized way spread throughout the country. This is the only what we want to explain with this slide. The other slide is some of the events that we have inside the house, some examples that we have in the previous weeks. We have talks and networks. We have trade shows. That is the 3 projects that we present every 2 weeks. 3 projects that we have inside the house and maybe later outside the house too. We have meetups, lunch meetups, breakfast meetups. We have the house podcast. We have a lot of things working and running nowadays.
Which for me is amazing because, again, before you guys came, maybe there was not as much content around Web3 in Porto as now. And suddenly you come and then all of this happens, like people have multiple ways and opportunities to educate themselves on the topic. And that happens thanks to a co-working space focused on Web3. So that's quite amazing.
Yes, that's it.
And one of the things I also wanted to ask you was about your perception on this mix between co-working and Web3. How do you think Web3 could potentially change co-working or, help co-working in the future?
Yes. Maybe we can speak a little bit about the next slide also.
Yeah.
So I think we must have a more technological approach and also be even more community oriented. This is also why we identify a lot with this type of language. But the best thing would be to talk about our ideas and especially about our platform. So we already have we propose the tokenization of the workspace, and we already have a platform that helps us managing all the spaces, making everything bookable. The seats, the meeting rooms, the user, the IDs user, the events agenda, everything. You can check out everything in our platform. Everyone can check and manage everything. We now intend to have our next step, so the tokenization of the seats, creating an NFT for each workplace or each seat, which will be market integrating blockchain system and smart contracts. So a customer can purchase a seat by purchasing an NFT representing that specific seat, and that means that can means that the NFT can work as an ID, can represent ownership from 1 month to 1 year. It depends on the month that you want to buy the seat, and allows every space to be co-attended and co-shared. Because when you go on vacation, or if you don't want to go 1 day for a week or something, the NFT is tradable in 2 different ways. You can sell the NFT or you can lend the NFT. So it is a good way and it is a new way of managing the co-working and the seats of a co-working space. So you can have your community also working and helping you fulfill the place, So you can buy us the NFT, and then you also can earn money with that. So it is our next step to put in our platform. We don't have this yet, but we are trying and working and to deliver this in the next few months. And I think it would be awesome because you have a place with Web3 companies, but we also have a place where the technology of Web3 that emerged with Web3 can be used every day. And of course, you also can pay in crypto. We already have that. We already have that in DeHouse. You also can pay in crypto. And later, just one more thing.
Please.
When our community is strong and big enough, we want to turn all of this into a DAO. I think it is also good to point that.
It's amazing. Like, you are such a great, because before we dived into all those concepts or technologies separately, and now you just bring them all together, like, okay, we have the space.
Yes.
I mean, also with Mike from Empire DAO, we were going that route, but I think now also you're again yet another great example of how everything can come together. And one of the last thing I would like to ask you, Tiago, is if we have people watching this now or later who are thinking about developing a co-working space around the topic of Web3, what would be your, let's say, number one piece of advice to them?
Okay, so I can give you some small advices, but important advices. I think you need to be even more informal and even more flexible. I know that we have been seeing this happening for several years, but these people, the Web3 people, are even more informal, and they really care a lot about strong communities. So this is my only advice and my strongest advice to someone that wants to get into to open a Web3 up. It is important to have that's informal and flexible way of managing all the space, and also to keep and to build a strong community. It is very important.
And my last question is, what's your biggest dream for DeHouse?
For DeHouse, I could say a lot. but what I consider most important is really the growth of our community. The biggest dream is to continue to grow our community quickly, but also in a sustainable way. In that process, or during that process, the dream will be to the transition into a DAO. Have our community supporting our decisions, contributing to them. We love everything related to DAOs, and we think this dimension where companies are democratized is incredible. And with our approach, our growth format, our sense of community, we can certainly become a serious case, not only in Portugal, but also in the world. So this is our dream for DeHouse, for sure.
Well,
Community, as always, but yes, this is our
Exactly.
biggest dream for DeHouse.
Community, it's what drives all of those places and make them so special. So definitely very
Yes,
important.
it is. Yes,
Tiago,
it is.
thank you so much for being with us today. Dimitar just put the URL of your website and we'll add it again in the event recap. I would warmly invite people to check out DeHouse when they're on their way to Porto. I also know that
Thank you so
the
much.
European Coworking Conference will take place in Porto. So if people are going at
Yes,
the end
it
of the
is.
year, in November, they can go to visit you in person. That would be also a nice occasion to actually meet in person.
Yes, please come, Pauline. You already know that you have a place here to be every day and work from here. So I hope you can visit us soon.
Yeah, maybe by then I'll have to get my token to become a part of your DAO also.
Yes, maybe.
Cool. Well,
So
Tiago, thank you so much. Yeah, my big pleasure.
It was a good pleasure to be with you. Bye-bye.
Take care and enjoy the beach life. See you.
Thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.